Casual here. Are you running a firepower build but can't keep volcanic rounds up? Unable to stay alive when the action is too hot? Well, I've got just the build for you. Let's get into it. The main challenge with volcanic rounds is the lack of a mod to refill your ammo on kills. Most builds take bullet absorption combined with either wide grip or flame grasper, along with perpetual mobile to counter this. This combination certainly works, but the loss of a damage mod on your weapon is a big hit on your DPS. My build is built around Embalmer's Rage, which boosts your damage massively by giving you guaranteed critical hits after every kill. Chain kills and the crits just keep coming. This synergizes incredibly well with reforging bullets, making your magazine infinite while you're hitting those crits. I have added Vein Ripper to my build, which adds some bleed damage, and by adding Vampiric Mag solves any final ammo issues I may have had. To boost my damage further, I am running Sharp Eye, Captain Hunter and Crit Stack, which works very well with this build. I've also modded Bullet Kindling as volcanic rounds apply burn with every shot. On my current build, my final two mods need to be changed. Extra Mag is overkill, albeit it does come in handy for broodmothers, and Empowerment adds a little damage to my Ash Blast, but not enough to make it essential. Once I get the right armor pieces to drop, I will be looking to replace these with Bloodlust and Ashen Boost. There are other mods that you could use in this build, including Personal Space, Tainted Blood, Bloody Boost, and Stare into the Barrel to boost your damage even further. In addition, Death Sentence, which drops from the Torturer's Mask, a piece that I'm still trying to get, adds a further 40% weapon damage buff to enemies affected by Ash Blast, which would be a huge damage buff. For survivability, I'm just using Damage Absorber. You could use Mitigation from Death as an alternative, and if you are struggling with survivability, add Emergency Stance as a second mod. In terms of stats, Firepower is your primary stat along with long and close range damage. Cooldown reduction is very useful to keep your skills and buffs up, whilst Skill Life Leash is a nice buff to your survivability. I would avoid Stasis Power, as this works best with anomaly power builds. The other challenge that Pyromancer Firepower builds typically have is a lack of AoE damage, as your only AoE skill is crowd control rather than damage related. To overcome this, I'm running the first legendary weapon that I picked up in this game, back during the demo, Grim Marrow. Call it sentimental, but I've been trying to use this gun in a build ever since then, and finally have found a home for it. Singularity does a huge amount of damage in what is actually a pretty wide area compared to most AoE mods. Shadow Comet is nearly half as big as this, for example. Training packs together and wiping them out becomes a breeze with this mod. For my secondary weapon, I'm using a Death Shield with Fortress and Shadow Comet. I use this when I screw up and volcanic rounds drops. Weapons with crit damage are best, along with long and close range damage, while any healing stat further improves your survivability. Volcanic rounds does ignore armor, so armor piercing should be avoided in this build. The class tree I'm using is pretty much cookie cutter for this build. The top tree ultimate, Burning Situation, provides you with a great 45% buff to weapon damage. Picking up 2 Marble Orchards then ensures that you can keep this buff up all the time. 2 Trial of the Ashes buff damage against enemies afflicted by Ash by 25%. Ashes to Ashes further increases this by applying Vulnerability, a further 25% damage buff. I'm picking up plenty of bonus weapon damage, including 20% for assault weapons for Assault Master, as well as Extinction, a great execution ability. In addition to volcanic rounds, the standard skills for a firepower build are Ash Blast to apply ash and crowd control, and Feed the Flames, which is a great on-demand heal and interrupt. This build is pretty simple to play. Apply Ash Blast to debuff all enemies, take out an enemy and then start critting like mad. Use Feed the Flames to keep the weapon damage buff up from Burning Situation, as well as to provide you with on-demand heals. Train packs of weaker enemies together to wipe with one Singularity. In the event that volcanic rounds does drop off, swap to your secondary to keep your damage output up. With a couple more pieces, not least the Torturer's Mask, this could be a very strong build. As it stands, it is a very solid build to farm for more gear, and I have run CT15 golds with it. Until next time, casual out.